Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. Hello. There's been some technical issues with LMU, so we've had this bit of an abrupt start. So, yeah, it's, servers died, basically, as soon as we were meant to start here. But they've come back. Some people are still having issues, some people it's fine. So, yeah, not sure what's happening exactly. Let's not put a flat spot on our tire straight away. But yes, welcome to Spa, where we're going to be having the first of two races this evening. Well, we're supposed to have the first of two races. We have two 30-minute races. No tire warmers, as you can see in the bottom left. We do have to suffer for the first couple of laps, try and get them up to temperature. And then, yeah, we'll have two 30-minute races, one here at Spa, then a second at Le Mans. I've not done a lot of practice. I did about 20 minutes in here at Spa. Haven't touched the Mans. Also did some laps at Coda on Tuesday when the patch came out to give them an initial go. So yeah, not much experience. I said through bus stop. Bus stop's definitely been one of the weaker or corners I struggled with more in practice. Struggled with just rear end over rotating. But yeah, we have. It's meant to be a 30-minute practice session, but with the server issues, it's effectively been shortened to sort of 15 minutes. Oh, Lambo behind was a little heavy on the brakes. Welcome, Dave. Don't downshift too quickly, it locks the rears. Yeah, I found that out when I did some laps at Coda. You don't want to spam the downshifts too much. I should also mention these races fixed setup. You can mess around with the brakes a bit, the brake bias, brake migration, brake pressure. Of course, I haven't actually touched any of them. But yeah, just here, have some fun, hopefully have some good racing. And learn a bit about the new tire model, try and get used to it. Also got some GT3s. So we do, and we have about 40 people, I want to say. So we have a good grid for both races. Nice split too between the classes. Like the new tyre model. Can't lean on them and abuse them much like before. Yeah, I was watching a bit of Bailey's stream from earlier in the week, and he was saying how the cars, you can feel the weight of them more with this tyre. And I certainly get what he's saying. The cars certainly don't feel as agile as they used to. And as such, you have to, in a way, it feels like underdrive them a little bit. They actually drive quite differently to the P2s, the unrestricted P2s, I should say. Obviously, those cars a little bit lighter, a little bit more downforce as well, I believe. You know, so the way you get pace from these cars is actually quite different, even though the pace of the cars isn't too dissimilar. Yeah, the way you get that pace is quite different. Nearly drained the battery by accident. You can probably just see me not trusting the rear end. Definitely slower too. Yeah, I was sort of wondering, if I remember correctly, the GT3s also got slower when they got the new tyres. So I was kind of expecting the same. You know, which will obviously close up what was already a sort of smallish gap between the P2s and the Hypercars. Again, unrestricted P2s, that is. I haven't done any proper quali runs. Don't think I will, to be honest. Just try and sort of learn the cars, sort of in race trim, heavy fuel. And then, when I ever come to use them more competitively, then sort of see what they can do. But yeah, just try and find some consistency in them. Sort of build up to them. I'm not sure why that fry was just sitting in the middle. Roughly 2 seconds lapped already, we're saying. Yeah, that's quite substantial. But yeah, I must say, they are much nicer to drive. I did used to enjoy driving them originally, but then they did sort of get a little bit of a change that sort of brought in more of a slip angle. Or more of an abusable slip angle. And I didn't drive them too much after then. I remember when I did try them, I was like, this is just, it's just disgusting how much you were able to slide them around. didn't really enjoy them anymore. So yeah, I have to say, definitely enjoy what they are now. How they drive now. Though, don't think I'm quite as quick as I used to be in hypercars. Maybe just needs, well, obviously more practice is going to help with the new tyre model. But sort of speaking relatively to other people. In the practice hour, there did do a high 2-minute 3. I think it was a 3.7. If I remember correctly. And so just another thought I've had is, when it comes to lifting and coasting, trying to fuel save, it's probably going to make that braking phase a little bit more difficult. It's easier to snatch a wheel. No, I won't be doing that the Mans race on Thursday. Well, maybe if something else doesn't happen. But I do have other plans for that Thursday at the moment. I mean, maybe see how tonight goes. I must say, I haven't quite enjoyed LMU as much this year so far. But if tonight goes well and it's good fun, you know, maybe I will be a bit more tempted to say, you know, screw the other plans and give it a go. But yeah, I'll have to see how tonight goes first. McLaren having a spin in front of us. Don't think we'll be improving on this lap time. Got bad traffic in front. Actually, we're clear of traffic now, so might be able to improve. Not sure if we'll get ourselves up any positions, but not too worried. I mean, these are just some fun races. Not too bothered by where we start. It'll be nice to have sort of the grid a little bit mixed up. Should make for an entertaining race. Snatched the front right there ever so briefly. Not too big of a deal. If we have a good bus stop here, we could improve. But again, don't think we're going to quite find the sort of 3-4 tenths that we need to sort of get P3. Right on the limit for braking into the bus stop there. Was an improvement, actually. Nearly did. Nearly did find the time. How far off were we? 23 thousandths. Not much. But yeah, obviously, some of the people that were struggling to get into the server down here. Quite a few people. 54 people. Hopefully 54 can get in. But yeah, it might get dropped back a little bit. When I was doing some laps earlier, I actually wanted a lower fuel ratio. If we're saying 2-minute lap times, 30-minute race, 15 laps. We'll set that. Obviously, put a new set of tyres on. Probably just stick to the mediums. Temperatures are pretty average.
And drivers go to the grid for a race.
So if everyone has gone, well, we've got 27 Hypercars, 27 GT3s, perfect 50-50 split. I think is about 30 odd people got lap times in. So we should have at least 30 people. But yeah, 1 minute till the race starts. New tires. Got to put 1 more % in just to be safe. If we have to fuel save a bit. Sure. Inside for T1. That's nice. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how pace goes. Of course, tires won't be freezing cold. They'll have some temperature in them. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see sort of temperature-wise. We are one of the lowest energies on the grid. As I said, if I have to fuel save, I have to fuel save. It'll be good practice.
Formation lap has started.
So yeah, I can see tires about 50 degrees. Should also say, for the second race at Le Mans, we'll be switching and trying the Porsche. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this race goes. One thing we don't want to do is be the car that causes the lap 1 incident, Dave. Yeah, not like anyone in particular. But yeah, we just don't want to be that person. I don't care if we lose a few places. Yeah, it's by surviving T1, getting through cleanly, not causing any incidents. And yeah, we'll go from there. Hopefully have a fun race. That's the goal. And yeah, learn and experience these new tyres a bit. So here we are, ready for the start.
Green flag, green flag.
Alpine off in the gravel. A couple of cars tried to get aggressive at the start, didn't really work for them on the outside. Looking to the outside of the Lambo. Been a good start so far. Opened up a little bit of a gap to the cars behind. Frame's not enjoying this section of track. We'll have to turn a couple of settings down before next race. Cars behind closing in a bit. But looks like the two cars behind are going to fight each other for a little bit. Do expect Bailey to get past Pope and to then close in on us. Oh, those cars in front running through the gravel. Again, losing half my frames in this section. Just dropping back a little bit through bus stop and the source. Bailey fastest lap of the race behind us. We've got quite a few track limit points to play with, so not going to get too worried about that curb. Billy running the Pro Show behind us. Peugeot known for having good straight line speed. I wonder if that's still the case. With this patch. Dropped back a little bit, so he did. Coming out of the source. Catching up to the Lambo and Caddy in front. Apex in there somewhere. Just running into the gravel slightly. Actually giving us a track limit thing there. So we come back to the slideshow. Yeah, Billy just doesn't get a great drive out of the source. First GT3 in front of us. Caused the Caddy some issues. Now they're side by side with the Lambo. Lock the rear brakes. And away they went spinning. That's given us P3. think Bailey's just a little better on the front end in some of these corners in the middle sector. Just sort of closing up into the Piff-Paff chicane there. Bailey still not quite close enough. Lambo's had an issue, but it's a lapped car that's been through pit lane. Making our way through the traffic. That was P12 in the GT3 class. Just locked the brakes there with the frames and sort of coming up on the cars in front quickly. Hard to know what really happened with the lack of frames there. That fray just seen me at the last second. Been some incident up here. That's the Lambo that we were following. And now we're following a different Lambo. Got left out of this one. A little bit of a flat spot on the tires, but doesn't feel too bad. Oh, that's annoying. I don't know how the Alpine saved that snap, but yeah, that's annoying. I don't know where to go. Just at the back of the throttles or drive into the gravel. Because I didn't know exactly where they were going to spin to. A little too quick into Lycom. Tires just slid. That's annoying to lose a couple of places through no fault of our own. But hey, there's quite a bit of GT3 traffic up ahead, and it's a good line of hypercars we have here. So who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, I was always worried about something like that through there. That was trying to get on the power, I think. Rather than sort of turning in. Yeah, on turn in, which was my struggle during practice. Twelve and a half minutes left in the race. Quite a few cars in the train in front, so they could fight each other, slow each other down. Someone's been off in the gravel. It's the Lambo. I was backing up there to get a better exit on the GT3, and the Lambo wasn't quite expecting it. That's someone off at T1. Other Lambo. acceleration compared to the GT3 cars. Caddy in front had an issue. Right, so we've got Lambo 4.5 seconds up the road. And Caddy 2 seconds behind us. Of course, the Lambo had an issue at T1 that previous lap, so lap time's not representative. We've got 5 laps to try and catch and pass them. Someone's ran wide into the gravel. I think that's the GT3 rather than Lambo we're trying to catch. They'll lock on the front right. That GT3 is so slow. Don't know what's going on with them. Must have damage. So we need to be catching by a second per lap if we really want good to go at P4 here. Wasn't quite a second. It was 7 or 6.5 tenths. Need a little bit more. Hopefully not having a GT3 right in the middle of Nonium will help. Oh, that was just off the curb. Car went for a spin. Not expecting that. That's a shame because it's a good opening sector there. It looked like maybe we could catch the Lambo. Instead, we're trying to chase down this Cadillac again. Invalidated the previous lap. Oh, I think that spin hurt the tyres a bit. Didn't lose too much time as we went for a full 360. But yeah, I think it has hurt the tyres. Which will of course make it difficult to try and catch the Cadillac. rear end tried to go around again there. Yeah, just clipped a little too much of the sausage carb. Done so a couple of times, didn't unsell the car as much as it did that lap. Had to just be a little patient on the throttle there to get to the inside of the mark. Porsche having a spin, going a lap down. I think second gear is better through the bus stop. Lambo is certainly pushing behind us to try and catch. Just lost the rear. Yeah, tires are quite overheated now from the couple of spins. That was a bit scary, but again, got away with it, relatively speaking. Just one of the downshifts, enough to lock the rears. So I can't get any more track limit points. Next lap will be the final lap. Again, a lot more time lost from car getting sideways in front of me, and just having to check up because of it. That brings the Lambo right onto the back of us. Oh, Caddy in front's got to drive through. We've got to make sure we don't do the same. Porsche was a little wider than I would have liked to make that move. Got another 2 GT3s I think we'll pass on this lap. That was tight. Just the bus stop to go now. Yeah, that guy's being timid through the bus stop there. I just don't have the confidence. Oh, that's a fun race. Yeah, the tires don't really have any margin for error, so they don't. Yeah, got unlucky there with a couple of moments. Obviously not ideal having the frames. I think if it wasn't for the frames, I wouldn't have had the lock into the bus stop that ultimately cost me the first time. Yeah, unlucky with a couple of cars, having moments in front of me that I just had to, get on the brakes to make sure I didn't run into them. And then, that just costing me a lot of momentum and losing out from that. Yeah, and then, yeah, a couple of mistakes of my own. But fun race, good learning there. Fun race. It is always nice to have races like this where you're not worried about where you finish. It's just some fun. Yeah, that's a good one. On to the Mans next. Server for that will be launching. Oh. In 10 minutes. So we have a little bit of a break between the two races. But yeah, fun race for sure. Obviously, we get ahead of the other caddy because of the DT they had. So P5, maybe could have been P4, maybe P3. But yeah, not worried about the what ifs. It was good fun, good learning. Yeah, a couple of settings to change for the FPS at Le Mans. But yeah, hopefully that can be another good race. Never a bad time to practice a pit entry. And we practice that just as the server goes down. So, yeah, good race that. So it was. But yeah, I'm going to take a short little break. And I'll be back when we're ready for Le Mans in the Porsche this time. So, see you soon. Okay, so we are back for the second race, where we are going to be at Le Mans. Welcome back. I haven't done any laps around here in Hypercars since the patch. No practice laps, so yeah, practice is going to be very important here. Well, practice qualifying, you could say, going to be very important. So, just loading in. Game taking its time. Again, fixed setup, so no setup stuff to worry about, but yeah, learn braking zones at Le Mans again. Yeah, and hopefully FPS is a little bit better. I did turn down the number of visible cars, hoping that will solve issues. Because, yeah, it's fine everywhere else, and then it's just the bus stop. Like, even the source wasn't too bad. It was just coming up into the bus stop that was just like, nope, no frames. This is taking a while. There we go. This is taking, well, immediately loads. The game was listening. I'll turn it down to 75%. Yeah. That will probably do. Oh, just spinning the wheels. Trying to drive out of the pit lane. Oh, everyone's loading in. Of course, should have a bigger grid here as everyone's able to get in. No server issues. I'm going to try and dump some of the battery. Feel like I can sort of feel detail in the road. Like sort of the little undulations of the street. You know, like as you sort of go over the crown in the road, it feels... I feel like I'm sort of feeling it a little bit more than I used to. Car feels a little bit weird when it sort of gets towards the rev limiter in 7th gear there. Trickiest braking zone of the lap, well, one of them at least. Maybe not necessarily the trickiest, but one of them here Mulsanne corner. Gonna be a lot of time to pick up or lose there. You can see what people are doing more of an actual quali run here. And here's just like, yeah, this is just practice. So, Indianapolis. That was alright. Should hopefully be a little bit better when we've actually got tires up to temperature. Just need to dump a little bit more of the battery into the Porsche curves then for the first time. Brilliant section of corners. Both me and the Aston running in deep. And the Toyota behind. Braking zone for Dunlop chicane, proving tricky. I think everyone just a little bit timid on the brake pedal, not wanting to lock a tyre up. Maybe could be a little bit later on the brakes. But obviously, yeah, want to build in, as I was saying, rather than sort of hit the brakes, spin, ruin the tyres, and then have them be ruined for the whole stint. I remember in the first stint I did, I went up, I had a couple of spins, locking tyres, and then I just really struggled with the tyres for the rest of that stint with the braking zones. I'm just going to bail for this one, rather than try and make the corner. Let the Toyota go as well. Aston went deep into Mulsanne there. So when we get to Dunlop chicane, how many of us are actually going to make it this time? We're going to catch GT3 here right into the Porsche curves. Gotta be patient through this bit, back off a little bit here, then get on the par here. Around the outside there. Car feels quite good on the front end, I must say. Feels a bit pointy, a bit direct. Still struggling with frames a little bit. Toyota didn't make the chicane again. Yeah, when you get the tyres into the window, they actually feel nice and grippy. They give a good feeling. Using all of the track and a little bit more there through the S's. Yeah, that sort of same braking point, the orange marking in the barrier, sort of about 150 meters, still sort of seems to be a decent braking point. So it does. Have to brake a little bit before the 100 board. Sort of 120. Quite getting the car slowed down for Indianapolis. Trying to be brave, carry speed in, but not lock the tires. Oh, rear end just started to step out. Now, luckily damage isn't on, so we can actually carry on. Not gonna cut the corner since there's no one coming. Obviously, that does hurt the rear tires. But yeah, car not happy with that change of direction from the left to the right. Have to be a little bit careful with that, but good to do that now rather than in the race. Just by getting the car slowed down for chicane. Want to try and get a good lap on the board, get ourselves a little further up the grid. So hopefully we're not starting the race in the middle of the 4 chicanes. Oh, I'll lock up, slowing down for the second apex. Looks like we've a good gap to the next GT3 in front of us, so again, looks like the fuel ratio is a little high, but not by much. So we can turn that down a little bit. Still pushing that braking zone maybe a little too much. Again, rear end just not sticking. Yeah, I think the rear tires aren't gonna have it. Yeah, we'll take a new set. We will turn the fuel ratio down by 0.1. That was great. Thanks, game. Just pulling away and the engine suddenly fires up and spins me around. You know. There we go. Yeah, I can't rely on the traction control out of the pits. Just got a couple of cars to go here. Whew. Must be someone on soft tires. They're on an out lap. Yeah, you gotta be careful of that sort of bit of sliding around, spinning of the rear tires coming out of the pits. Has worn them a little bit. A little bit of understeer. Maybe pushing the car a little too hard for where the tires are at temperature-wise. Not a great line through the first chicane, was carrying a little too much speed in. That's a major cut. Yeah, tires not quite there yet. Still need a little bit more temperature in them. Should get 2 more flying laps in. A little too much skating of the floor on the carbs. Outside curb, I think, triggered the traction control quite a bit. Lost quite a bit of momentum on the Delta. On the limit of locking the front left, you can see the lock lights. On the left side of the dash, the purple lights, the first one, you know, just saying fine, you're right on the limit. Didn't feel too great through there. Maybe need a slightly better line to hold a tighter line through the right-hander. Right, up to P11. We've got a lap on the board. That's what matters. Yeah, we left quite a bit of time on the table through the first sector. Yeah, we're not too far off the next couple of places. 10th and a half will get us 2 more places. Rear end just started over-rotating a little bit. Yeah, but should be able to push ourselves into the top 10. Bit early on the brakes there. Could have been more aggressive. Probably give up a few tenths. Not ideal. We will get one more lap. About got less through. As a better line through, just being sort of a little bit gentler, a bit smoother on the steering certainly helped, I think. But yeah, we lost well over half a second. Aston's got less through. Greatly appreciate that, Aston. Thank you very much. That's very bad through the chicanes. Yeah, frame rate's still just dropping a bit through towards the chicanes, which is annoying. Running a bit hot into T1. Kim's got this way with running slightly wide there. Not as good as the previous lap was. Do need this lap to try and get ourselves into the top 10. Which I would like to do. little layer on the brakes. We're very similar to where we were last lap now. We will catch one GT3. Let's just hope we don't catch it in a bad spot. Well, same corner now. Went in too deep. Missed the apex. Been bumped down to 14th place now. Ah, oh, clipping that curb just pushed me out wide. Not ideal. Maybe could have gained a 10th. Will not catch the GT3, thankfully. .3 seconds quicker, that puts us up into P9. Still a couple of cars finishing laps, but I will take P9. P9's not too bad. A couple of 10s said 10th. The Lambo we were fighting last race, they're now in Aston. A couple of 10s to the car in front. But yeah, gonna see 9 laps. So that fuel apparently is pretty spot on. So it is. Add 1 more % since we do have the run to the start finish line. .26 hypercars setting times, 21 GT3s.
Teams and drivers go to the grid for a race start.
So P9, yeah, good spot to be in. 9 laps. Yeah, should be interesting race. Hopefully. Of course, got the long Mulsanne straight, good slipstreaming opportunity. Try not having any mistakes this race. I think the difficult part is going to be the Porsche curves. You know, the cars, especially later in the stint, just seems like it's going to get a bit twitchier on the rear end. It seems like the rear tires wore out a little bit quicker than the fronts, so the balance is just going to shift more and more to oversteer. But yeah, we'll see. Fuel estimate seems quite safe.
Formation lap has started.
Quite a lot of wheel spin from that Aston, or at least I love revving. Of course, I want to try and burn a bit of hybrid, so we don't immediately lock the brakes or run deep, not able to get slowed down because the battery's full. Good variety of cars. And we've got BMW, Caddy, Alpine, Aston, Peugeot. I can see a Ferrari up there. So yeah, hopefully, again, just looking for a good clean start through the first few corners. Thankfully, you know, there's good runoff at the chicane, as we seen during quali.
Green flag, green flag.
Caddy in front got a really good start. Interesting start. Dropped to P10, kind of got boxed in a little bit. Not in the slipstream, unfortunately. Oh, BMW missed the chicane. Now we're in the slipstream. More confident on the brakes in the Porsche. And we get the move done. And we should just be in the slipstream of Caddy in front. So the Porsche should be able to hold on to the position. There's Bailey in front of us. He's not had a great start. Issues for a couple of people in front. Just a biking in front of the Aston. Caddy off. Want to try and catch up to the pair in front. Try and get in the slipstream for the Mulsanne straight. Little track cut now. Now I lead the train. Yeah, we've got a good train of cars behind us. I don't think we're going to hold on to P3 forever here. Aston is closing. Not going to be close enough, I don't think, for a move into... Well, never mind. Is going to be close enough for a murder. Yeah, not much more to say about that. Oh, that flat spots. Yeah, those flat spots are bad. Spinning quite quickly on tarmac. Down to 14th. But let's see if we can make some places back up. Car in front of us on the soft tyre. Porsche's gone spinning off. Just on the wrong side of the white line on the exit there. Toyota's gone for a spin out of the chicane. Don't have straight line speed on the Alpine. Close enough for a bit of slipstream. But Alpine looks to be good straight line speed wise. Try and get a slightly better exit. Cars are bouncing around a little bit. Alpine's gonna let us go. Maybe you go try and get us back here into Mulsanne corner. Couple of cars off at Mulsanne corner, including the Aston Martin right in front of us. I think a Ferrari went off as well. Good train of cars still in front of us. I mean, we were in P3 and we had all these cars behind us. They're still quite compact, it looks like. Again, just a little wide. Ooh, little moment there on the curb. Just ran the left-hand side wheels perfectly on the curb. Porsche went spinning. Things starting to open up a little bit now. Not great through the chicane. Just are very hesitant. Felt pretty on the limit on the brakes there. Felt like if I went quicker into the chicane, might have lost the rear end. Big lock up for the Ferrari. I ran in a little bit deep myself. Side by side. Ah, the rear just went. I mean, already had flat spots. The tyres aren't that... Oh, the flat spots are so bad now. Ooh. Yeah, might not be drivable anymore. Yeah, these flat spots aren't drivable. Not ideal. Just spinning the rear wheels there. We'll get it well ahead of the GT3 field. Not sure if we'll be able to catch any of the hypercars, especially with cold tyres. They'll lock up on the front left. Should get away with that. So at 20 odd seconds, find the next car. We'll see what happens. Quite getting slowed down there. Don't want to be any more aggressive on the brake pedal. At risk of locking up, of course. turning in deep to the first chicane. I'm not sure if we're going to catch any GT3s now. We'll catch one. But I'm not sure if we'll catch any others. We're closing in on another hypercar that has had issues. Catching up to this Toyota fairly quickly. Seems like someone who isn't very confident with the hypercars. Will, not kindly, but reluctantly get out of our way with that spin. As we're catching up to that GT3 that I mentioned. I'm getting some weird force feedback this race. Just sort of wanting to wobble around for no reason. I just scraped the floor on the curb as I turned in for the left-hander. Yeah, I feel like my game's just struggling. I want to say to my CPU that's struggling. Oh, Caddy's not had a fun time. We'll have 2 more laps. Don't think we're catching any Hypercars. Not sure about the GT3s. Might be able to catch a few. Not great for the chicane. Nice thing about being alone is you can just sort of learn, sort of, see, just finding a little bit of time myself, learning, what the tires are capable of, just to see how much I can pushing that little bit more every lap. Turned in too late for left-hander. You want to hook the tyre on top of it, but not too much that you then scrape the middle of the floor on the curb. We are catching up to the 2 cars in front. They've had issues. Maybe we can have a bit of a race to end off here. Little bit deep. A little bit cautious in Turnage. Looks like some GT3s have had issues, so we'll probably catch them here in the Porsche cars, which means goodbye fastest lap. Obviously not race fastest lap, personal best, I should say. Might still get personal best. The Chevy was kind enough, the first one, was kind enough to kind of let us through. Rear end starting to move around as I bounced the car over the curbs. Yeah, could have been half second quicker. But we're into the GT3s now. We're not going to go any quicker as we start the final lap. Get another little weird force feedback moment. Don't know if the McLaren was a little bit slow through that chicane or if that's just normal GT3 pace. Felt like they could have pushed the exit a little bit more. Felt like they were maybe just a little tight. We're catching the two cars in front, but we're still 7.5 seconds back. They're fighting each other. If they have any issues, have an incident, you know, maybe we'll be there. But not counting on it, as we have less than half a lap to go. A little deep into Nars. And we've got some GT3 cars anyway that will be passing through the Porsche curves. There we go. End of the race. Yeah, shame that one kind of went wrong with the flat spots and having to pit. But yes, I kind of seemed like, you know, at least I was pretty competitive. And maybe not up there at the top, certainly not up there at the top, but it sort of seems like decent midfield. It's fun driving these cars. They're good fun to drive. I am surprised that the default setup, you kind of chews through the rear tires a little bit more and is as snappy as it is. you know, it doesn't seem as sort of intuitive, as friendly to like beginners. But it's weird, like on the most part, the car does feel front limited. But you know, there's just the odd section where it's like, oh yeah, the rear will come round on you. At Spa, it was bus stop and into like home if you just carried a little bit too much speed in. Here, it's sort of the Porsche curves, especially the change of direction. You know, and it kind of felt similar between the Porsche and the Cadillac. I mean, both of them, of course, are LMDH cars. But, yeah, my right foot and right leg are a bit tired. So they are after that. But yeah, there goes the server. It was still fun either way, so it was. I enjoyed that. I certainly it certainly a lot more enjoyable than sort of the sliding round. But yeah, I feel like it feels like something's not quite right with my game. At least for those races, just not running smoothly. And the force feedback felt off at times. It felt like there's, you know, it wasn't smooth, it wasn't consistent for feedback. It felt like there's little moments where there's sort of a rogue force, sort of like the car just sort of jolted. Yeah, so I think my game was just struggling a little bit, unfortunately. So yeah, that's a little bit of a shame. Not sure what to do about it. I'm not sure what's causing it. I'm not sure what I can do about it. But yeah. Yeah, but either way, fun. Thank you, Dave, for popping in earlier, chatting a bit about the new tires. Thank you to those that came in and lurked a bit and or watching the VOD back. Hope you all enjoyed. That's a good one. Fun. Thank you, Bailey, for setting these races up tonight. Always good to race with the SROL group. And yeah, hopefully there's some more SROL races in the near future. I think there is. But yeah, kind of missed them. There's not been many recently. Kind of missed them. So yeah, good fun. Anyway, thank you all very much. Hopefully I will see you next time for the next stream. Not sure when it will be. Also, if you're still here, I'm doing some streams on Twitch now. I meant to leave the channel link in the description. It's if you go to the homepage on the channel, there will be a Twitch link there. That's for some more casual streams where I don't want to faff around with a thumbnail and scheduling it. I'm like, oh, hey, I've got a rally event on Richard Burns Rally. Let's just stream it. You know, no advance warning, no preparation, just open OBS and press start streaming. They'll be on Twitch. So if you're interested in that, do give a follow. We'll be doing some rallying this weekend. Got a couple of events. We're halfway through one. Through a historic Monte Carlo, and then we've also got a British series to do over Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, again, thank you all very much. We'll hopefully see you next time. Till then, take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.